Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday. Wait, where's the music? Where's the music? Here's the music. Oh man. Well, where to start? Let's go look at the markets here. Again, tomorrow's Federal Reserve Day, so today might be a little weird, but it's also the last day of the month. You might see some buying here in the treasuries. I don't know. So coming over here into the treasuries, you can see we had like some selling overnight. We had this little bump that we caught, but then after that, it's kind of been flat. It hasn't really done a whole lot of anything interesting. S&P 500 looks like they took a little bit of a news dive. Not too bad. Not too bad. And a little bit of depressed sentiment. So I think that what's happening is that people are hedging ahead of the Federal Reserve. There was a CPI reading over in Europe that was good. And that kind of led to it. Whoa. Okay, so here's our news. I'm sorry. I'm so behind. The Canadian GDP is that big of a deal? What the fuck? Hold on. Hold on. The only news that I have here on my... It must have been something else. Canadian GDP month over month, spot 1 versus an expected spot 1. Employment costs 1.0 versus an expected 1.1. That can't be what just moved the market. Are you kidding me? It's like a total nothing burg. U.S. Q4 employment cost index increases 1%, estimate 1.1%. No, that was the Canadian. I don't know what's going on, guys. I feel lost. You have Chicago PMI today, by the way. It must be the employment cost index being in line. I'm really surprised the market reacting that strongly to it. I thought that none of the news that we had this morning was really very important. Well, let's just come back over here, finish looking at things. Oil has been just really taking a hit here lately, but you know, retracement of the earlier movement in January. So gold and silver, though, they're not looking so hot. That's not looking so hot. Gold in particular. Copper. Yeah. Something just like looks really awful at the moment. And the dollar higher above 102. I can't believe that was what? The move that we just had. I don't know. Well, let's just kind of watch this settle and see what happens. Man, so somebody on Discord was like, oh yeah, the thing that helped me the most with options was reading a technical analysis book on chart patterns. What a load of shit. Well, that is so interesting that the market moved big time there. I really was not expecting anything. I'm actually kind of planning on relaxing a little bit today. So we gotta come in and change the title of the stream. Because I passed the test yesterday. Guys. It's like the most anticlimactic thing ever. But man, oh, you have a Rust programming book coming today? Ooh, that's good. You know, I should order the Rust programming book too. So the test, man. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. Like, I spent so much time studying for that test, memorizing all of the possible little numbers and stuff like that, going over all of the practice questions that we had. And the questions on the actual test were like nothing like the questions that were on my practice tests. I mean, like they were kind of similar format and difficulty and all of that sort of stuff, but like they tended to be focused on subjects that I had not focused on at all. So you just really have to know the content and be able to read the questions and really carefully, and it's a difficult test. I think I probably did pretty well, but like, here's the other thing about the test. They don't tell you what score you got. It is super strict. It's like you come in, you can't have anything on you. They do a metal detector on you and all this stuff for take the test. And then when you're done, they don't tell you what score you got or anything like that. So I don't know if like all of my extra studying paid off and I got a really high score or what. Literally you get to the end and it's just pass, fail, and that's all they tell you. Well, I don't know. If you failed, I think they might tell you what you got and which things you got wrong or something like that. But if you pass, it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you a darn thing. So it kind of feels anticlimactic. And like the thing is like, it's just like on to the next thing. No. Series 65. SIE would be the same. SIE would be the same, right? So actually, the SIE is very, very similar to the test that I took from what I understand. But yeah. So like, yeah, thank you. So I guess we start an investment advising company now. I think that I just started out as a sole proprietorship and try and scale it up from here. I don't know. I would like to try and talk to some other investment advisors, get some advice, but I have to come up with a name for something too. I don't think that anybody wants to, the investment advising company probably shouldn't start with speculation, right? That wouldn't be what people are looking for. So, but it's really weird, because like, you did all that work, and then what do you get from it? A piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. It's not like, oh man. And like I said, it was a lot of work for a long time. It's almost like, okay, I need to fill my time with something else now, because it was a lot of time that I spent on it. I guess we need to spend our weekends finishing this desk, I think, is the next big thing. Gotta finish the desk. Might need a new computer. So I was messing around yesterday, and I think that I've got an indicator on NinjaTrader that is misbehaving. Because when I come in and I do my pen thing here, but look, like nothing's showing up at all. It doesn't react at all. Okay, now that I've got it going, it's really choppy. If I close down NinjaTrader, it's fine. So I think that I have something that's misbehaving. I don't know if a faster computer would resolve the problem or not. But I've kind of been sitting here thinking, well, maybe. And I'm guessing that what's going on is once you factor in OBS as well, that is just too much. I don't know what changed with the pen so that the pen doesn't work very well anymore. But, well, one thing that I could do here is I'm going to, I'll leave it off screen, but I don't do this Ninja Trader thing. I think it's probably one of Sim's indicators, because he's got a couple of those where the way that it handles the drawing code is probably incorrect, because it's like creating the object every time, and so you get like, well, okay, it's not too bad. I was gonna say the cumulative delta I don't think should be taking more processing power than the candlestick, you know? But whatever. Man. So the treasury is extending off of that. I really wonder what is going on here. Did I miss something? Was there something else that came out in all of that news that was like a really big deal? Because I just... this is a strong move. Yeah, Brannigan Barrett pointing out something here 3 minutes ago. Markets no longer reacting to and following through on weak inflationary data. Pay attention. He's right. There was weak inflation data in the Eurozone, and the market kind of didn't care. Whoa. Tether borrowed $2 billion from Celsius? Tether borrowed from Celsius? What? Okay, that's... I don't know if anything's going to come of that, but I'm like, wow. Wow. In Spain, the inflation was going up recently. It's not a good sign, actually. Wasn't it, I can't recall. Was it France or Spain that had the good CPI? You know, it could be my data pipe. Whatever it is, the pen, my system seems to be just fine, but the pen can't seem to handle it anymore. It's like they changed something about the way that it works, and it just isn't responsive anymore. I don't know what to do. I tried changing like the processing priority of it to real time, and that didn't change anything. And when I look at my utilization monitor, things look about where it should be. I'm guessing that probably the reason why the delta indicator takes so much time is because it's constantly running that on new data, right? It's constantly doing this processing each time there's like changes in the book. I actually took off my new indicator for kind of testing purposes. See if the stream freezes on us again today. That was kind of what prompted all this. It's like, wow. So I was writing, like saving, like recording everything. And, you know, I wasn't using it. So I was like, well, let's just turn that off for now. So in those respects, maybe a new computer could help, but might not solve the specific problem with the pen. But that's another thing that we could do. And we got some videos. We need to make a new video. I think, what do you guys think? Next video, why you suck at day trading? I think that's going to be the next video. Anyways, I have things to replace the test with, but this week trying to take it a little easy because I think that something that happens with us, or maybe it's just me, but I seem to be unaware when I'm under high stress. I seem to be unaware until after it's gone. After it's gone, then you kind of feel the feeling of like your body relaxing, and I realize how tense I was, you know? We definitely must be missing something. Well, I have a little bit of food here. I'm going to eat this food while we try and sort out what's going on. Bitcoin is taking off here too. E-mini's taking off. I don't. This is all a little weird to me. So the top story, well, not the top story, but the most recent story I see on Zero Hedge is U.S. employment cost index surges at record 5.07. So it must be the employment cost index that the market is reacting to. My U.S. employment costs 1% versus 1.1% is a 0.1% change difference that big of a deal? I don't know. Are you been gone for 2 weeks? You know what? Definitely disconnecting from the markets can help. Like one of the most common things that I see among the young, brand new traders that are all into the hustle is it's the work weekend. I want to spend as much time as I can learning about the markets and stuff. And first of all, they want to spend time reading about technical analysis books and everything. So like you're probably wasting all your time. But number two, the weekend is the time for like doing everything that's not the market. Like I totally get the enthusiasm because I was like that too. But I promise you, you're spending your time is better spent like taking care of and or trying to build a family and taking care of all your personal stuff and decompressing over the weekend, so that when the week comes, you're rejuvenated and you can work hard then. Don't you've got to learn to pace yourself, and when you're just the market all the time is not good for you. It really is not. I'm an unusual person that just, I guess because I'm ADHD, I was able to get myself into financial markets, and the financial markets can really bring the dopamine and the focus and stuff, but being in that mode all the time is not the way you're supposed to be. This really curious. Feel bad like we didn't participate on any of this, but the other thing is that this is like such a bullish impulse that we're getting. So I'm still really concerned that the Federal Reserve is going to smack us down tomorrow. Like I'm really concerned that we end up down tomorrow. I wouldn't make that a prediction. I guess I'm kind of hoping that it happens, because if it does happen, and maybe for the next week after that, could continue to see some down action, but then that could be like a good buying opportunity. Oh, new to the stream, wondering what you trade and how you trade, just overall style trading. So the way that we trade is what I would call informed trading. So we are, of course, we take note of things, technical analysis and that sort of stuff, but the data suggests that it's not very effective. So what we're looking for is information that may be underpriced by the market that can predict what the future flows are going to be. And then I'm watching the markets here, my DOM and so forth, watching the orders come in to see if the orders are in line with my expectations, right? So I guess you could say it's a fundamental approach, but there's lots of things that aren't fundamentals that we can rely upon. Like, for instance, today, you're going to have a tendency to see the treasuries buy today because it's the last day of the month. And that is when there's a lot of like rebalancing and people buying up inventory for the month and things like that. So that's something that's not really fundamental per se. It's kind of technical, but it's not based on price, right? So anyways, and most of my trades I place in the micro 10-year yield futures. Micro 10-year yield futures. But we watch the S&P 500. So even if you don't trade the treasuries, it's still going to be good to listen in, because, you know, we're going to be talking about the macro stuff. So the stuff that we're talking about here every day is going to be relevant to you regardless of what you're trading, right? Cyclical. I mean, I think that the proper term is predictors of order flow, but we can just call them predictors. But I think the way that we want to brand it, we call it branding it. I know it sounds so funny to be talking about like a strategy and like how we brand a strategy, but the reality here is that that people don't understand the importance of this stuff and are like wasting all their time on nonsense that doesn't work. And so we kind of have an obligation to help out our fellow retail traders. So informed information. It's all about information. An informed approach to trading. That's the way that I like to put it. They're just hanging out up there like they want to go for more. Like, look at this. It was a 20,000 net change, and I'm sitting here like, what? Right? So the thing I'm struggling with here this morning is that I wasn't expecting anything this morning. I'd seen that there was news, but I kind of looked at that and was like, oh, those aren't really big deals newses. And then it came out. It seems like the market is reacting very strongly to the U.S. employment costs being 1% versus 1.1%. So I wasn't expecting that at all. So I feel like that at the moment I am not as informed as I could have been. And I'm concerned that I may be missing something. And because I don't understand why they think that number is such a big deal, I don't have a very good finger on whether we should continue to see these insane buying flows or not. Because it really is starting to turn into like an insane amount of volume in the treasuries. Like 20,000 contracts off of that news, and now they're pushing up even further. That's a big move. Why are you spending your mental on this stuff? I hope you're profitable after all these years. I see. Well, so I've done pretty okay the past year, actually. It's an interesting journey because when I started out, you know, I think that everybody goes through this. So, you know, I'm I'm a really good example to kind of look at what the evolution here is, because when I started out, I kind of had a little bit of a head start over many people, because I had already been watching the markets for a really long time, and I was in a situation where I wasn't able to actively trade it. So I knew a lot more about the market than most people do when they come in. I knew a lot of stuff about technical analysis, and by that point I had learned a lot of stuff about order flow as well. So I thought that I kind of had things figured out, and I did really, really well at first. And then I went through this. So like the first year, 2017, it was like I did awesome the first quarter of the year when we first started the stream. And then the summer hit, and it was like for 6 to 9 months, it was like I lost every day. And it was like, what the hell? It was like so crazy. Even thinking back on it, I'm still not quite sure how I was doing so poorly for so long. But and then after that, I kind of had, you know, it was a period to do well, and I have a period where do poor, and it just kind of went back and forth. And that was a good thing though, because every time that things went badly, I would dive back in and I would start digging even deeper. A lot of the time, the digging was just going into the backtester. You know, that was always my thing, is if I did poorly that day, I'd spend extra time in the backtester. I've kind of since realized that a lot of that, because I never really found anything in the backtester that said, oh, you know, like here's a good pattern that really is truly reliable over the kind of the metrics and time frame that you're looking at. When we really started focusing on being as informed as possible about the market and reading the professional analyst reports and everything, like that made a big change in our trading. And that happened about midway through 2020. And since then, in the 3 years since then, we've really gotten some good practice with our improved understanding of the markets, and we've made some big progress. So last year, I did quite well. I haven't gone through to see like the net, because one of the things is that I took a trade on oil that was really bad. I'm pretty sure that without the trade on oil, that my treasuries trade net is positive, but you know, if I deduct my costs and everything, it's probably fine. So yes, you get better at it, especially if you're taking an informed approach. And so you can come and look at, you'll have the ability to come in and be like, okay, what did I not know, or what mattered in the end? And it's very difficult, because the technical analysis is like you can do everything right and it's wrong, right? In my kind of style of trading, you know, if you lost, I mean, there's a certain allowable, you can allow a certain amount of losses, but like, especially if you take a big loss, like that shouldn't happen. If you're informed, that shouldn't happen. So, I've been getting better at it. Yeah. But I'm not making like tons of money from it. And that's kind of the thing, is if you're going to do this, it really has to be something that you just like genuinely enjoy. And I would probably be up every day, coming here to the computer, trying to trade and get as good as possible at figuring out what the market's going to do next and so forth, even if there was no way for me to make money on it. It had been like made illegal for retail day traders to trade, you know, like all people, non-professionals, have to hold all positions for at least 6 months or something crazy. Like, I'd still be here, man. I'd still be here. So, but we're not the hopium either, right? I think we make it pretty clear that this is a difficult game to play, and even with the advanced knowledge that we have, it's still very, very difficult to be successful in it. See, it's still pushing, man. It's still pushing. I'm having a hard time figuring this out. So let's just come back over here to zero hedge. Read this again. With the Fed huddling in the echo building and traders hyper-focused on any signs of peak inflation, this morning's U.S. employment cost index rose. Blah, 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 blah. Labor costs have risen at least 1% for 6 straight quarters, extending what was already a record streak in the data back to 1996. As a reminder, Fed Powell explicitly mentioned this signal, and while the quarterly changes are trending in the right direction, we note that the year-over-year change of rate rose to a new record. Fed officials have said they pay close attention to the employment cost index, a comprehensive measure of wage growth. Quarter four figures due Tuesday aren't likely to change the outcome of this week's FOMC, but could be important in shaping the outlook beyond. It seems to me like that the market was just holding a really massive expectations for this report that I'm seeing some tweets from Nick Timmeros that I had missed, so that would have helped. I'm still a little bit surprised though that you're seeing the kind of follow through that you are from this, especially if you got like a Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow, because that could just like retrace all of it. Brad, I can't even hold a position for 3 hours. To adjust this here. Hold on a second. Buy the room. You would think so, but like there's been way more follow through on this thing than you would think. So this is what I'm saying. Like, even now that I think I am up to date on why the market is moving the way it is and everything, I still feel that the reaction to that was bigger than it should have been, and the follow through is a little crazy. So, might reverse. It'll be funny to see this thing like come all the way back. I think that for me, that it's probably best for me to kind of sit on my hands until I feel like I have a really good handle on what's going on here. After that big spike and everything, let's just say that it moves down. Well, look at where we are on the interest rate, 3.5%. That's something that could definitely be a magnet. You can already see all the retail traders trading there at it. You're likely to see some distribution in this area rather than complete reversal just because of that. I think that for me to justify a short, I would really need like some other catalyst, because I don't want to see it goes up and then they continue like 2 or 3 more legs off of that and then be like, okay, now it's the 4th time and now it's going to turn around. That doesn't, nah. So it's probably not a good idea to fade that. Now, when we get the Chicago PMI, that could be a big shift in the market. So we might want to wait until that would be in about 45 minutes. Remember, the Chicago PMI is a number that releases 3 minutes early to certain subscribers, so we'll see a reaction before the number is released to us. Do I look sleepy? I'm writing a post on LinkedIn while I'm eating my last little bit of oatmeal here, and I'm just thinking really hard about what I want to say. When I write stuff, I take way longer than I probably should. Was it hard questions? Yes. So I can't really say, and they make you sign that you can't say anything about the content of the exam. So I can't tell you anything about like which topics were covered or anything like that. But what I will say is that the difficulty level was about spot on with the materials from the Securities Training Corp. The exam is called the Series 65 exam. This is the exam for investment advisors, Uniform Investment Advisor exam. Yeah, the difficulty level, I tell you what, man, it's one of those tests where they have like different categories of difficulty, right? Like I think, I don't know how this company does it, but you know, like on an AP test, for instance, they like rank the questions by difficulty level, and then they randomize the questions that they send to you, and they make sure that they send a certain number of questions of like certain difficulties. So the difficulty of the questions was about on par with the practice questions that I got from the course that I bought from Securities Training Corp. And when I say like difficult, they're like, some of them are super difficult. They play all of the tricks on you, right? And the thing that I think that they do really good on the exams is that like they'll ask you questions about things that you would really maybe hadn't considered, right? Even if you read the materials. So it really tests your overall knowledge. It's hard, you know, you'd think like, oh, here's this, they're going to ask a question like this, and they're going to ask a question like this, and that sort of a thing. So that's the way what you studied for like AP tests. It didn't work for this test. None of the topics that Lo was like, okay, I did poorly on this topic on the practice tests, so I need to study extra hard for that. Like none of that stuff came up. It was all things that was like, whoa, where did that? Because that was way left field. Oh, that was just like a, you know, kind of like a little side thing that I hardly spent any time. Like I read it once and then that was it. And they asked a bunch of, you know, it was like that. It's a super hard exam, and they play all the tricks on you. Like the thing that they love to do is they'll introduce irrelevant information into the question, and then put answers kind of related to that irrelevant information, right? So if you might think, oh, this was some topic that I didn't study very well, and I don't know that term very well, or whatever the deal is, right? And so you don't know if it's a real term or if they're messing with you, right? They do that constantly. Like it's a very difficult test. So I wouldn't say that I haven't taken the 7. I'm going to bet that the 7 is a lot harder. I'm going to bet that the Series 7 is a lot harder. So let me show you, like, well, I'm not going to go and get it but the Series 65 exam is a little booklet about this big. That's like 300 to 400 pages, I think. Okay. The Series 7 book, I have some materials from 10 years ago, so they're probably not as good anymore, but I got them from somebody else. That's like this big. That's like a huge binder like this big. So this Series 7 is a lot harder to take. And when I think about how much time I spent on it, so just consider this. First, I had to read through the book. I had to read through all of it, and it's not easy reading, okay? And then there's like practice questions that you take afterwards, and then at the end of all of that, they have like a final exam, 8 final exams that you take, okay? And then you take those, after you've done all of those, you take one of these like final review tests, and then if you did well on that, you go back through them all. You do those tests again, but this time, instead of reading the explanation of the question after every question, you have to go through all of the thing, go through the whole thing once, okay? So basically, you're taking 8 tests twice. So 16 plus the 2 other ones. So that's 18. That's 18 tests, okay? And let's just make it an even 20 for maths purposes with like other study that you do, okay? Right? And you do that twice. So there was, for me, it was 40 hours of preparation just from the tests, and then probably another 10 to 20 during reading. So I probably spent like 60 hours studying for that test. And I probably spent more time studying than most people would. And normally I always take the thing. I tell you what, I just, because I'm ADHD, and I guess that's just the way that I did it, is I always start things early, and I always spend more time on it than other people do. That's usually the way that things go. So if I took the Series 7, I would think that it would take me 3 times that. I think that if I took the Series 7, I would spend like 120 to 200 hours studying for that one. So, who knows? Okay, so if the Series 65 exam qualifies you to be an investment advisor. I shouldn't say it qualifies you to be an investment advisor, but it's one of the prerequisites, I guess you could say. So I could now go and start my own investment advisor business, which means that I would be able to go and give specific advice to individuals about buying and selling of securities based on their investment goals and so forth, right? So once we get our business set up, I can't do this yet, but we set up a business, and there's a couple of different choices that I have about how to run this and everything. So I don't know exactly how it's going to be, but the most basic level is I could start a business, and then you could come to my house with, information about all of the investments that you already have and what your goals and your income are. And then I could give you specific advice about how to invest. Essentially, that's what an investment advisor does. So if people are giving you tailored advice tailored to you about buying or selling securities, and they aren't a investment advisor that's or investment advisor representative that's registered with an investment advisor that's registered with the state or the SEC, right? Then they're not supposed to do that, and they can get they can have legal action taken against them, let's say. So that's what the test allows you to do. Okay, so like that's the most basic level of it, and there's kind of different ways that people do it, right? So one way that it gets done is you just you charge them a fee to do a plan. So they give you all the information that they have, and then you give them like a packet with all of the information, with what they should do and why, and all of the knowledge that they need to do what they're gonna do, right? And then you charge them a flat fee for that. Like, let's just say you charge them like $500 or $1,000 for that. Okay. Another step is, if you have enough, I don't think that I would have enough net worth at the moment. Well, I don't know. If you count like the 401ks and things like that, you probably could. But like, so if you want to have custody of client assets, you need to have $35,000 at all times. So $35,000, and then you could do something like, you just give me the money and I'll invest it for you, right? Then you can go to that level, and you can charge them like a percentage of the assets under management, right? So you could say, okay, you give me $1 million, I'll invest it for you, and then I'll take, like a fraction of a percent or something like that, right? So that's another way that you do it. Or you could start your own business, or you could go and you could work for one of the big banks doing that sort of a thing and work with high net worth clients, right? The other thing that you can do is you can start a fund. So you can like start a private fund, and people could invest in your fund, and so like it could start a hedge fund. Yes, I passed it. So yeah, so if you guys had missed it earlier, I knew that based on what I had read and in the materials that they give you when you sign up for the test and everything, says when you're done taking the test, it will then show you on the screen what your score was. So I'm expecting to get my score immediately afterwards and everything. Not like the AP tests, man. When I took the AP tests when I was in high school, you had to wait months until you knew what score you got, right? And then they give you like a 3, 4, or 5 or whatever. With this one, you find out immediately afterwards, but if you pass, all you get is a screen that says that you passed. And there's like your identification number and all of that. And afterwards, they give you a piece of paper that has like a special stamp on it. But other than that, they don't tell you no score or anything. So it was kind of like anticlimactic. When are you taking the 7? I don't know, man. So I mean, I kind of want to do the no, it was the 65. Yeah, so that's the first thing is, so what do we do next? I think that first this week I'm going to read something more kind of general, not finance related. So I think I have some books about trying to become a better communicator, I guess you could say. So I'm going to read those. And then I want to get into the machine learning. I want to get more into some machine learning and some portfolio level management stuff. Okay. So I might spend a few months doing that. And then maybe we can gear ourselves up for taking another test. And when we do the next test, it will definitely be the Series 3, which is for commodity trader advisors, right? So do the Series 3. I really want to do the Series 7, to be honest with you. I want to do it. But I think the only way that I see myself doing that is if I end up working for the bank again or something like that, right? If I end up working for somebody that, could sponsor me, then I'll study for it and take it. But like I was saying, I think I spent 60 hours studying for this test, and the Series 7 looks like it's like 3 to 4 times bigger than that. Better at communications, just call everyone bitch and mate in the same sentence. Well, so the reason we got the book was my stepson is doing debate stuff, which being on the debate team is a lot more commitment than I thought it was, because he's basically gone every Friday night and Saturday at these debate tournaments. So but he was saying, like, I thought I was doing really good at first, but now I kind of feel like I'm hitting a ceiling, and I almost like sometimes feel targeted. So he was saying that he thought he was doing good, but that he was concerned that he was reaching limits on how convincing his arguments were. So I got a book about influence, how to formulate your arguments and so forth to influence people. So I'll read that book. It would be great help if you went to work at Jane Street Citadel or besides large bond trader at JP Morgan. Then you can no. No. So I don't have any current plans to go and work at a bank or anything like that. Okay. But I have been contacted by recruiters, and you know, the everything kind of like what happened was I got contacted by some recruiters, and then like all of the layoffs started happening, everything. They're like, actually, we can't, you know. So so I have given some thought, and I think that we can we'll just make a video saying, sorry guys, the stream is over, and of course everything on the YouTube will just still be there, and make any kind of content that I can, but probably the channel would just go quiet for a while, and then we leave the firm because I wouldn't be there forever. We'll come back at some later date in like 5 to 10 years. But the Discord would be kind of a problem because I wouldn't really be able to talk or share anything there, but I guess I could continue to moderate it. So I think that I would keep the Discord up and we could chit chat, but I wouldn't be able to tell you guys anything. So it would be interesting to go to work for like a Jane Street or a Citadel or whatever. I don't know. Like, so one of the things is that like, so I also got contacted by, it wasn't somebody from Citadel, but it was a recruiter that was looking for a Citadel job. But I was kind of like, well, I'm not going to move to New York or Chicago. I don't think, not right now. But I don't know if I would enjoy working at Citadel or not. Just because the options don't excite me as much. I don't know what it is. I just the math and the statistics and everything that's involved in the options is not as interesting to me. Yeah, that's one way to end up in jail. Yeah, exactly. But dude, they're so strict about like what kind of communications you can have and stuff like that. So it's, I would just be there to kill the spam. Nope, can't tell you when the big crash is gonna happen. Maybe if I became a research analyst or something. So apparently there's a set of tests that you take to be like a research analyst. So I don't know what that's all about, but the big thing is I studied for the test. Like I could just not do anything with it. Like that's the funny thing about this. It's I can't even remember anymore what oh no, I remember what it was. Is I read that I could potentially invest in hedge funds if I had a Series 65 exam. That's what it was. I do. I find the math that's involved in bonds more interesting than the math that's involved in options. I do. I mean, I know that they're similar, but I guess what I'm saying is that like the edge that Citadel is doing, as I kind of feel it's like, well, yeah, of course you can make money that way. I want to know. I want to know deeper stuff. I don't know. Yeah, that might be. That is true to some extent. That the options math is just the bonds math and on steroids. I guess what I'm saying is that like, market making statistics sort of stuff is not as interesting to me as like block trading is, for instance, right? I think that what the block traders do is way more interesting to me. Or like what a portfolio manager does is more interesting, right? Oh, But I think regardless, just forget everything that I just said. I think that the direction we go here is more into portfolio management, right? I think that we're building one bit at a time, right? And we've learned a lot about the trading, and now it's time to take that deep knowledge of the inner workings of markets that we've learned and start learning portfolio level strategies. And either starting a fund or doing investment advising for high net worth individuals or whatever, or just for myself. I don't know, but that's what I want to learn. I want to learn I want to learn all the machine learning stuff, and then I want to learn portfolio. I mean, I've seen books about this stuff, so that's what I want to learn next. But we do need to get this series 3 because that's this is what we're doing is in futures anyways. So we'll get the series 3. It's just we'll wait a little bit because that was a lot. Although I think that the series 3 is an even smaller exam than this, so it should be easier. But I digress. Yeah, so I have a book. It is okay. So there's this guy. He works for Fidelity. His name is Igor Halperin, and he has a recent book about machine learning. I've already kind of done a little bit with it, and was really impressed with it. So that's the book that I'm going to use for learning machine learning. I need to go look at it again because when I was doing it, there was like this first chapter. And the first chapter, they had like these exercises at the end of the first chapter. And I was like, I had no clue where to even begin on doing the exercises that he was talking about. And I'm like looking for like the teacher's edition of it or whatever. And I couldn't get access to it. I think that's what it's called. Yep, machine learning in finance from theory to practice. Yep, and Matthew Dixon too. Both of these guys are amazing. So I have both of these guys on LinkedIn. Let me tell you what, one of the best things that I did was, if I'm reading a research study on archive.org that I like, go and find the person on LinkedIn and add them. Like, I've found so much good information and stuff from following those people on LinkedIn. So I have Igor Halperin and Matthew Dixon on LinkedIn, and their knowledge of the subject is so amazing. I'm so impressed. I think one of the things that, because most of the approaches and kind of opinions, attitude that you hear from me here on this stream is very different from what you're going to hear from most retail trader influencer types, YouTubers, whatever, right? And I think a big factor behind the difference in my approach is because I've been in the industry and I have contacts with people that are like really at the top of the industry, like Jean-Philippe Bouchot. They have the best CTA fund out there, basically. Like when you're looking at the awards for like performance over a 5-year period and of momentum funds and stuff like that, the Discus, for instance, has won a ton of awards, and that's just one of the funds that they manage over at Capital Fund Management, which Jean-Philippe co-founded. So like you really are talking about the people that are like at the top of the field. So I'm always looking at, well, this is where I want to be, or this is kind of the knowledge that I want to have. And most retail traders, they never get into the professional side of it, and so they have no clue that that's even there. And some of them, they make money and they develop like these huge egos, and they don't really know because they don't really know like where they're at, right? Whereas myself, I am pretty confident that I am in a place where I'm so far down the totem pole that I still don't even have really any clue what's out there, right? I only know enough to know that I know hardly anything, right? But you get to that point where like you truly have competency over this subject is like, it's so far out there, right? Because these people are like in their 50s and 60s and have been doing it their whole life and have been professionals their whole life, right? That's hard to catch up to. But the good thing is that a lot of this stuff is public and they got books and they're actually, you can actually send them messages and get people to reply and stuff like that. So I think that there is a lot of stuff for us to do. There's a lot of stuff for us to do. I'm just not so sure, like, what is the next thing? I mean, I don't know, maybe actually you have some ideas, but like something that would be useful for me just trading the outright 10-year treasury on an intraday basis, you know? Certainly there are things that could be found, but they probably would be things that we need to find on ourselves. I don't know if there's a whole lot of other public information that would be beneficial to us. Of course, I'm going to find something that'll be like crazy, but you know, that's kind of part of why I'm shifting, is because I feel like I've learned that particular subject and it's time, if we want to keep developing, it's time to move on to a different subject. You have a lot of knowledge with bonds. You could try the neural networks for sure. Yum. The machine learning bit is really interesting to me. I really I keep putting this off because my understanding is that applying a Markov model sort of a thing is not that complicated. But there are a couple of things that I've found. I think the one that's probably the best example is if you look at the overall size on the book, you know, if you add like the first 5 levels together and the first 5 levels together down here, you'll kind of notice a tendency for the market to either move towards or move away from the liquidity. And it will shift. It will go in regimes. It'll be like for a week, it will always go towards the liquidity. And then something will change and then it always goes away from the liquidity and so on and so forth. And so I've discovered a lot of dynamics like that, especially in order flow, where there will be a really strong tendency for the order flow to act a certain way. And then all of a sudden it will flip and it will do the exact opposite and it will do that. And it's not like it changes every day. It's like it'll be like this for a few months and it'll be like this for a few months. And so I believe that there should be some sort of hidden Markov model or other kind of statistical classification that we could do with those situations that wouldn't necessarily give us an edge, but would let us know what regime you're in, and so whether you should trade towards the liquidity or away from it, right? And there's other things like that. So I really want to apply that stuff to that. And I just kind of haven't gotten around to it. and like that was the thing, is that like because I started this series 65, you know, gotta finish it. Maybe I shouldn't have started it. Maybe it would have been better for me to study other things, but you know. But like I said, so like for my weekends, so I was spending a lot of time on the weekends studying for this. For the weekends, we have a desk. We have a really nice piece of wood. It's birch. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just birch, but I'm super attached to it, and we're going to build a metal frame for it. So it's going to be like a crazy sturdy desk. Like this desk, I could shake it. I'm not going to, but I could shake this desk, you know. It's an IKEA desk, all that sort of stuff. But this thing that we get, it's going to be so solid. It's going to be so solid. And I think that we're going to build like a rack mount on it that we can use at some point in the future. It's going to be a cool desk. But it's been a lot of work, that desk, and so we should get that done first before I pick up any other big like project. Is there different levels of payment to get the PMI earlier than 3 minutes? Seems some have paid for faster than 3 minutes. No. I think that this decline here is just them finally retracing this move. So it's kind of funny actually looking at this. So remember where we said, well, we're at 3.5, so I don't like that because we're probably going to hang out there for a while. Well, we did. We hung out there for about 20 minutes. Now we've moved away from it, but like, look at this. You're making maybe 10 bucks. Maybe 10 bucks for that. And you got the PMI just coming up. So there wasn't really very good risk reward. We did have the direction right, but there wasn't very good risk reward on it. So I called that one perfect. Pretty happy about that. I think I'm doing pretty okay lately. I'm doing a basic AI class, and next year there is a machine learning class. I can't wait. Yeah, well, you know what's so cool about machine learning, man, is that you can apply machine learning without, you know, they've just created these models in these classes, and you can just use the model, and so a very, very large portion of what people in the machine learning space, like professional people, like technology companies, are doing is just using those models. And so it's more about understanding the model and knowing how to use the model rather than programming the model itself. I mean, there are people that program the model itself, but most people aren't doing that, right? I kind of want to understand that part of it though, because I would want to be to a point where I could be making my own model. But we'll see. We'll see. I went through a bunch of stuff about NinjaTrader, like being able to connect NinjaTrader to Python with a socket, and like I got that sort of a thing working. So I need to like start plugging in models, I guess you could say. That's why I have this thing that's outputting the data every day. So I've got a couple months of data now. So I have some decent data that I could run through Python. So I think the next step on that one would be, man, let's see, I have too many things to do, guys. Where's my paper? So I haven't really messed with my my board here for a little bit. So I passed the Series 65 exam, and I wrote the Santa Fe indicators. So this sticky note can go. Machine learning finance is definitely the thing I want to learn. Maybe well, we'll see how long this other book takes me to read. One of the things I was going to say earlier, and then I got too ADHD and didn't finish my thoughts, was that, you know, I've in the past, I've done things like I studied for the GMAT, and like I took all of these practice materials and like studied really hard for it, and then I never took the test. All of a sudden it was like, actually, maybe I'm not going to go to business school. And I never took it. So when I did the Series 65, it kind of came to like, well, I don't have to do it. But I said, no, I'm not gonna be that anymore. I've been hyper productive in my life lately, and I've been able to push things through. So I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna take this test, come hell or high water. So I did it, right? So now I'm kind of free, and I kind of feel like, okay, if I pick up another book, then I'm like I'm kind of in that same situation where I'm like, you know, Seth, you need to finish that book, you know. You saw a snippet of Norton Trade. Are you talking about his course? Can you do a video about how to connect Ninja to Python? So 07, I don't think that I would make a video about that, because if I make a video about that, then everybody that tries to do it and has problems with it would come to me for technical support, and that's not something that I think that I could support technical support on. There was one video that I made that was like how to make a button appear on your chart, right? And that one's really simple, but what I find over and over and over again is that the people that want to do it aren't really to the technical level necessary to really be messing with that sort of stuff, right? So that's the thing, is that there is some information out there, and you can find the forum posts and everything. And if I make things a little bit more beefy, I might post some stuff on the forums for it, but I don't think that I would make a video, because the people that have the technical expertise for it should be able to figure it out from just text, right? So I don't think it would make sense to make a video about it. My focus on videos right now is, you know, trying to get videos that will grow the channel, really, because we have like such a great base content, you know. So we did really good with that Ninja Trader video, man. Oh, I'm so glad that I did that video. That's worked out so well. That's probably one of the best videos I've ever made. I think the next video that I want to do is why you suck at trading, and talk about here are the main factors that need to be involved in every strategy, and a lot of retail traders are kind of missing. I guess maybe that also means we need to put the PDF out. So I don't think that I'll be able to record a video this weekend, but I can spend my time writing that. I feel the behaviors in the order flow are quite static, so machine learning seems not really beneficial to me. I guess it's better maybe to use it for asset correlations or something like this. So for the stylized behaviors, you might be right. Oh yeah, here's the PMI. Thank you for reminding me. It looks like they're moving up. I think that the PMI is probably bad, but they're not moving as strongly as they normally do. So let's reset our DOM here. Our volume. Yeah. I think that the machine learning stuff will probably be more useful to portfolio management, but we'll see. The thing is I know I've kind of been following like the machine learning and data science community and like learning a lot of things about it, but I don't have a whole lot of practical use, and certainly not practical use with it in finance. So let's go through the machine learning in finance and kind of learn what the deal is with that. Maybe we'll find some places where it is useful. I don't know. I don't actually know. Apparently that's the truth. So the caution I would give, I don't know how good Norden's new course is, okay? But I'll tell you about his old course because I know quite a bit about that one. Oh, sorry, wait, here's the, let me hold that thought. Let's see how they react to the actual PMI, the public PMI release. Okay, 44.3 versus expected 45.1. So it was less than expected, but it's not going down too much. But the thing that you can find about Gary's thing is that it seems like really simple and not a big deal. But the more you learn, the more you'll realize how insightful it is. Like, you're talking about a guy that he did it professionally for so long that it's really just kind of second nature to him. And so he doesn't necessarily understand all of the ideas and assumptions that your average trader has that is preventing them from coming to those conclusions on their own. So you'll read something and you just be like, okay, You don't realize that if you've really been doing this for a long time, and you had a misconception on that one thing, it's like a mind-blowing revelation. You know what I mean? There's a trade. I was like, what the fuck? Well, so, but he's probably not explaining his trade, right? So what is going on here is what he's generally trying to do is arbitrage. So he probably identified a location where the asset was disconnected from the other assets more than it should have been, and you had an opportunity to get filled or to hit back against it on a small trade of it coming back into that, back in line with the correlated assets, right? So it can be something that is very, just in the blink of an eye, and then you miss the opportunity. Very much happens. Or, I mean, that's very much how it works, rather. And what his old course was basically just like all of the factors that you kind of have to take into account for doing a trade like that, essentially. Right. So. But I think the thing is that, like, he's very good at, like, I don't want to say, oh, how do I say this? He's very good at creating mystery around it, right? So y'all think, oh, what is it that Gary is actually doing? Well, if I buy this course, what is it that I'm actually going to learn? Is it worth paying the money, or is it not? What secrets is it going to give me? Or are they really secrets, or are they not, or whatever the deal is? And so I'm just trying to give you the reality of it. That the reality of it is that if you take his course or whatever, and you learn this stuff, it's not going to be like this secret magic that you've been looking around for, right? It's really kind of more of a very thorough and accurate presentation of how this is actually done, and it's kind of be on these little details and edge cases and stuff like that, where these little things matter, and that's kind of what ends up really helping you out in the long run. You get what I mean? But it's not like some secret. I'm just telling you straight up. It's has a lot to do with correlations, right? It's like arbitrage with correlations, but it's a kind of a more of a it's doing it in a manner that the robots can't, essentially. Being able to understand what the correlations are and or should be at that particular time in a way that the robots have a difficult time doing, because the robots need to see a certain amount of, correlation change or whatever in order for them to make their decisions, right? So that's where he's able to still have an edge as a person, at least in a very not efficient market. So, right. That's why I think you're going to have a lot of people that will say, like, they took the course or they saw some of his content and they're going to be like, oh, I didn't really see what the big deal was. It's because a beginner's not going to know what the big deal is, because they're not going to know the mistakes and or pieces of misinformation that people have, that he's able to get you on the right track, right? But it's kind of the same thing with our channel. So, like, when I teach you about the inelastic market hypothesis and everything, how we arrive at that and why it is and all that sort of stuff is like really, it's really big brain stuff. Okay. But if you're a beginner and you just watch that one video and you don't know anything else, it's just gonna seem like no duh. It's gonna seem like no duh to you, and it will be hard for you as a beginner to fathom and understand why so many retail traders have difficulty, right? Because you were not given the same, I'm trying to come up with a good word for this,
explanation of these ideas that get passed on between traders that are harmful to their progress, right? So I definitely recommend my stuff. I don't know. So it's kind of funny. I like it again. Like the whole thing is the past 5 years, I've been spending all of my time, you know, making content that I think is going to be the most valuable to you. And so I truly believe that the best education that you can get on retail day trading is to watch the videos on my channel, especially the videos on the order flow. Those are the best ones that you can get. And there is some information that's really difficult to get through into all of these videos that we do kind of disseminate in the streams as they kind of come up and as they're relevant. And when those things come up, you know, I write it down, and maybe that eventually will be a book. But that usually has to do with like specific peculiarities in certain economic numbers and that sort of a thing, right? So if you want to learn that stuff, the best thing that you can do is just read the economic reports. Go to Forex Factory, find every economic report in the past month, and go and read the latest report, right? And if there's any materials on their websites about the methodology behind it, go and read those. And then go to Zero Hedge and read any of the stories that they have about prominent Wall Street analysts or flow reports, and read and understand those. And then you'll get a really good idea of the sorts of things that drive the flows and why. So that's the other thing that you can do. I've heard the identical ideas from vegetable farmers. Orders drive prices, and each marginal buyer is actually a very big deal. Yeah, this is kind of funny. But I'm just saying, like, the whole thing is that, like, retail traders are basically trained and taught the exact opposite, right? They're taught the exact opposite. So it is kind of funny, is that it is something that people could come to and understand on their own and not even realize the significance of it, and not even realize that everybody else doesn't understand it. That's why I think you could have all of these situations where there are these people that they're successful traders and nobody can really put a finger on why. You know, it's because they don't understand the thing it is that they know. Like, there's nothing. Realize that people were trading for hundreds of years until we started to do the math to like really understand this, and that like the inelastic market hypothesis was something that was only put out in the last 3 years, right? So that's like 100 years worth of stuff to get to a point where empirically we can understand why it comes to that point. So you can very easily understand how a lot of people can come into the markets and never realize that, never figure it out. And you can also understand how there could be people that come in and figure it out and don't even realize that they figured it out. You know? It's really funny. So yes, it's weird that some of the things that will help you the most in trading will often seem like tiny insignificant things that are like, well, okay, that's no duh. Or orders move markets. Okay, no duh. Of course they do. But you don't understand the significance of that statement unless you lived for years in your life working really hard, trading, and not having any success. And then somebody comes in and says, orders move markets, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, yeah, all of the things that I was looking at don't mean shit. Right? You should write your own software for noobs with no tech. Well, I mean, what, isn't that Jigsaw? I don't know, man. We should all refresh your stream to create a commercial for Seth on YouTube. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. No, listen. The thing you can do that helps the stream the most is comment on the videos. Even if it's an old video, man. Even if it's an old video, you leave a comment, either
you know, a question about it, or, oh yeah, I've kind of seen how this applies in a certain market, or I saw this play out today, or hell, start drama with somebody, you know? Man, the comments make such a big difference. Like, if I post a video and it gets like 5 comments on the first day, that's going to be one of my top performing videos on the channel. Oh no, if you leave a question on a video, I'm absolutely going to respond to it. Unless I think that it's like a, you know, unless I think that you're like trying to troll me or something like that. But I'll recognize your name. I'll 100% answer them, yes. Yeah, argue with Seth every time, generate. Exactly. I'm gonna write YOLO on every video from now on. Then it would help. Yes, it would. It would help. That would help. That would help. Is it crazy? But that's YouTube. Every piece of engagement. So you like the video, you comment on it, you watch the whole thing. That matters a lot to how well the video does. And that helps me out. Yeah, but to the question, you know, right, you're on. That really is kind of what Jigsaw is. One of the things that I don't think people realize here, again, it's like it can be some of the smallest and trivial things, but just the fact that based on where I click, it enters a different order, and I can see all of the information in one spot, and I can see correlated assets right next to it. Is such a huge advantage, and is like one of the primary reasons to use the DOM, right? Because of course I'm watching the order flow and I'm using that to confirm things, but I'm looking for information to trade off of, right? I don't do the technical analysis, you know. I'm trying to avoid the technical analysis. So I'll see these people, they'll come in and they'll be, you know, we'll try and trash Jigsaw, and I'm like, well, how can you say that there's well, like there's one person that says that Jigsaw is a scam, and I'm like, how can you say that? Like, it's a piece of software that does what it's supposed to do. You can enter orders in. Like, how can you say that that's a scam? It's order execution software that works. You know? The reason why you're saying that is because you live in this bizarre world where there's technical analysis, and some things are good technical analysis and some things aren't technical analysis. So you'll come into your world and say, oh, well, here's these indicators that we use and they work, even though you have absolutely no evidence that they work. And then this order flow thing, this must not work, you know? It's like, look, how you analyze the orders is like a completely different thing. And every person that has Jigsaw probably interprets the orders differently, right? But the fact of the matter is that it's a piece of software to do a specific thing that is useful, and it does it, and it does it well, right? Jigsaw is only lacking money. I totally agree with you. I think that if I had the ability to write, well, you know what though, it's not even just the lack of modding. I think the reason why it stands out to me so much that it lacks modding is because there's still a couple of really critical tools that I feel they're missing. I think that they really need a way to do chart spreads, and they really need a market analyzer, market watcher, whatever you want to call it. Just go full degenerate on Excel, Bethany. I mean, you could trade just using Excel. It's not as crazy as it sounds. Because I tell you, the people in the industry, they're absolutely using these like Excel spreadsheets with like plugins and stuff to do certain calculations that they want and stuff. I still think Sierra Charts is better. Well, I think that there are some things about Sierra Charts in terms of like it being written in C++ that are a big advantage. So like here's really the maybe I should be presenting it this way when we're talking about Sierra charts versus NinjaTrader or whatever the deal is. Really what it comes down to is what matters more to you. How your chart performs or what you could do with your chart, right? So the advantage of NinjaTrader is that it's written in C#, and because of the way that C# handles events and handles updating of data in the GUI and so on and so forth, it is very, very easy to make new indicators and even very advanced indicators that like completely draw things from scratch. It's very, very, very easy to do in NinjaTrader. Okay. And so because of that, NinjaTrader has developed by far the best library out of everything. I tell you what, yesterday, it wasn't yesterday, it was like 2 days ago. Somebody commented on my NinjaTrader video being like, oh, TradingView is better in every respect. Or Thinkorswim, they're like, Thinkorswim is so much more advanced. And I'm like, dude, you have no clue what you're talking about. Like, those are both good applications, but they just don't hold a candle to NinjaTrader in terms of like what you as a programmer can do with it. The demands in the futures space is just so much higher than stock and options. It really is. And so you get all of these crazy things like the heat maps and the what do we call them? Footprint charts and all these sorts of things. Like, it is so much easier to write a footprint chart in NinjaTrader for me than it is like Sierra charts. Writing a footprint chart in Sierra chart would be such a nightmare. Now, they have one. It comes with one, and the stuff that it comes with is more. But that's what I'm saying. To me, I think the market is competitive, right? So the thing that's going to matter the most is if you got a new idea, can you program something, a tool that will help you with that new idea, right? Or can you find, or are there people out there releasing things that are going to be forward thinking and might be able to give you an edge, right? So in my opinion, the ecosystem around the platform matters more. The ecosystem around the platform matters more. And that's why I go NinjaTrader instead of Sierra charts. Right. Now, the performance is a key question, but see, for me, the performance doesn't matter because I'm doing all of my execution in Jigsaw, right? So the things that people worry about in Sierra charts, here again, like, well, of course, if you're like obsessed with technical analysis and you want to know exactly the moment that we've crossed your moving average or whatever the deal is, then I totally understand why you'd be obsessed with it. Needs to be written in C++ and it needs to have this perfect performance and all of the things that Sierra charts really focuses on, right? But what I'm saying is what we know about the market kind of suggests that stuff doesn't matter. That like how fast in performance your charts are is kind of irrelevant. I can come in here and like restart NinjaTrader and it doesn't really bother me. TT, you definitely look cooler if you're using TT. Yeah. If I had my way, I would use TT. I would still use Jigsaw as my DOM, but you can do that. Like, Jigsaw is compatible with the TT data. That's what I would do, and I would do all of my charting and everything else through TT. Yeah, if I could, probably. But it's more expensive than I'm willing to pay right now. And you know, it's again, like, the community is like a big aspect of it. I guess I've never really thought about it this way, but from the perspective of me as a creator, I was also better with NinjaTrader because there's just the larger community around it, right? But whatever. Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with Sierra charts. But that does mean, by the way, after all of that, there is a huge negative to NinjaTrader, right? There is a huge negative to NinjaTrader, and I'm just able to ignore it because it doesn't really matter to me. But NinjaTrader, no, it does not. I don't think it does. I'm going to. I think it could be close, but I'm gonna bet you that there are more instances of NinjaTrader out there running than Sierra Charts does, because you can download and use NinjaTrader for free, and there is a massive number of people out there that are using the free version of NinjaTrader. Has NinjaTrader? Oh yes, I use all the time, dude. That's what I'm saying. Is like the big negative of NinjaTrader is that when you start putting everybody's indicators on there, you get a bad indicator that will like crash Ninja. So like I was saying, oh, did I close the thing? I guess I did close it. Should have kept it running. If I pull my, so you want to see? Let's just run the test. We'll see if how much OBS matters, because when I was testing it yesterday, it didn't have OBS up. Yeah, NinjaTrader is written in C#. So if I use my pen here and I like draw squiggly lines, do you see how it skips? So I'm getting like, I don't know if they're like, I tried testing DPC and they didn't seem to line up with the DPC latency spikes. So I don't know what it is, but like something is like, you know, causing it to be unresponsive at certain points, right? So if I literally close NinjaTrader, I'm gonna literally close NinjaTrader now. Oh wow, it closed down really quickly. Let's see if it's better now. See how much better it is? It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Let's see how much better it is now. So probably some of my indicators are bad. So like now let me go back. So now let me show you. Just to prove to you that it's not NinjaTrader itself. Yeah. The thing is it wasn't always like this. So I think that they changed something in the way that the pen works that is making it sensitive to something. So basically they changed something about the pen that makes it not very effective in high demand applications, let's say. If you can't pay $30 for a month for software, I question if you should be trading. Well, that may be the truth. That may be the case, but it's the way it is. There's the part of the reason why NinjaTrader is probably the most popular futures trading platform is because the free version. Mm-hmm. Yep, these two charts right here are NinjaTrader. But then over here, it's still loading up. Over here, you've got whole slew of stuff, right? So what I'm gonna do here, oh, it's still loading. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to switch to my nothing workspace and close clean, restart NinjaTrader, because you could get like a memory leak or something like that. Okay, well, it closed down really quickly, so that's good. Treasuries are selling pretty hard here now. So the DOM is Jigsaw. So that's oh man, if you didn't know what Jigsaw was, then everything I just said maybe just went over your head. So Jigsaw is primarily the DOM. They have their own charts, but they're not quite up to par yet, right? So all of my execution, all of my orders are put in through Jigsaw, and I only use NinjaTrader for the charts, and my execution skips NinjaTrader. Right. Okay, let's start it back up. Oh, so I saw somebody asked about Quant Tower. The last time I looked at Quant Tower, I felt like it was still a little bit of an immature platform, but that it was good. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it, but there's not really anything in Quant Tower that really makes me be like, oh yeah, you know. But of course, it's really hard to put something into the platform to start with that would really like catch my interest, of course. But you know, there's in order for me at this point, in order to wow me with a new platform, there would have to be something about it that would make me think that it would be better platform to like develop things on, right? So that's why I keep saying if I built my own platform, I think that I would probably write it in Rust so that it would be performant and memory safe, but then make it so that you could write any kind of custom stuff in Python, right? So if you could write all of your custom stuff in Python, that would be like a game changer. And then that would be the platform I would want to use. That selling here in the treasury is starting to get like, we could have made 40 bucks if we had bought at 3.5 when I was dissing it. But you know what? That's all been since the news. So I kind of passed up on an opportunity there. So I'm just not as interested in trading because I want to relax a little bit. 1 and 2, there's a Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow. Okay, so now I've pulled up a chart of the S&P 500. Just one chart. Data series. I'm using the regular candlesticks. Okay. It's fine. 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 So it's not Ninja Trader. It's either having too many windows open or like a specific indicator that I'm using or something. So let's try the best candidate. It could be my code. It 100% could be my code. The thing that I think is most likely to try to cause this sort of thing is like some of the drawing code. If you're constantly recreating complex objects that you don't need to, that could possibly create that sort of behavior. But another culprit could be the level 2 stuff, because when you're doing the level 2 stuff, there's a lock. You use a semaphore basically, and so I don't know why that would affect another application, but it could have something to do with that too. But like, here's the thing. I think I tested this yesterday, but let's just do it here again for good measure. So here's Sim's cumulative delta, which when I was running the metrics before was like one of the most processor intensive indicators that I had on there. It's fine. I come back over here. I will add my... What should we add? Let's add Santa Fe, because that's probably my most intense and expensive indicator, right? And the one that would be the most likely to have problems in it, because it's not released yet, hasn't been tested enough. Oh, interesting. It gave me an error. I know where it's erroring, but I don't understand why in that spot. It's kind of weird. Okay, so then let's do something different. Let's do sure. Okay. So this one would just test the drawing code. So having drawing all that is a big... It's fine. What is it? What's causing it, man? Can't figure it out. It's like so I've done it both ways. I've gone in and I've like created charts and like just added one thing at a time and then tested it each time to see if one of them like causes it, right? And then I've gone and I've done it the other way, and I've created the whole workspace and then I slowly take things off, right? And it doesn't do it. I think one of the problems is that like I've found that like if I open that workspace up and then close that workspace, I still get a little bit of it. So like I have to like completely restart NinjaTrader for whatever that thing is to like reset. Ooh, question. Oh, thought. Okay, so I have a thought. I have a new theory. Maybe it's the crosshair. You think it could be the crosshair? Exactly. That's exactly it, Ismail, is I can use NinjaTrader for the custom indicators on the charts and Jigsaw for the superior order execution. So you're gonna come to my workspace that I thought was clean. I mean, it could just be the number of charts that I have open. So I could try. I guess maybe I need to just try rebuilding the workspace piece by piece until I start to see the error. I passed the Series 65 exam, so I can be an investment advisor now. Are you excited? We should just start a private fund and then I can day trade the private fund on the stream. You'd be like, you guys can all, you know, you have to be a millionaire, but if you're a millionaire, then you can contribute and then I'll trade it in front of you. That's probably a terrible idea. Okay, so I'm going to come onto every one of these charts and I'm just going to straight up turn off the crosshair on all of them. Yeah, this is going faster than I thought it would. Okay. Now let's try it. And it's terrible. It's not even registering the click. Look at that. What is causing it? Only if your money is at least 25% of the fund's assets? Okay. Wait, where does the 25% come from? Why 25%? Would have to be, well, if you'd have to be a millionaire, so that's not going to work. Okay, so first thing I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to close a bunch of these ones that are like the smaller charts. See, it's still terrible. It's better. Actually, it's actually a little bit better now. But still pretty bad. Now I'm going to close all the ones with the cumulative delta on it. Terrible. Oh, I also got this one. My big chart. Even though that's minimized, that could be doing it. Still terrible. Right? Market analyzer. Close the market analyzer. No. Close oil. I'm just closing. I've closed almost everything on the other screen. Nope. Still pretty choppy. I'm gonna close my main ES chart. Terrible. I'm gonna choose my S&P 500 chart. Okay, I'm gonna close my synthetic dollar index. Still terrible. Okay, and now I'm gonna close my market depth tapes. Still terrible. This is a little bit better, but I'm still getting like big chunks occasionally, right? I've closed everything, right? So, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna call this one deleted. I'm sure this probably isn't interesting for a lot of you guys, but I'm just like, what's going on? Yeah, the utilization monitor. So that was the next thing I was thinking, okay. Now that I've got like literally nothing running, If I open up the utilization monitor, right? Do we get anything? Nothing. It says nothing's running. It says nothing's running. Basically. But look, it's still, I'm still getting like the spikes and stuff. Okay. Now here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so we're on the deleted workspace. So I'm gonna close NinjaTrader. Yes. Okay, and it's perfect. I closed NinjaTrader. Sorry, I lifted my finger off the button. Now it's perfect. Look at how perfect it is. Okay. No, I'm saying I have an indicator in my workspace that's doing something. It's not Ninja itself, but there's something in Ninja I'm using. So I deleted everything off of that workspace. If I open it back up again and open up that workspace, could there be a bug with the workspace itself? Let's see. Okay, so NinjaTrader is up again. It's perfect. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, so what I'm saying is that the indicator appears to negatively impact the whatever it is that's in that workspace that's causing problems. It continues to create problems until you close NinjaTrader. Right? So that kind of suggests to me, I mean, you don't get like memory leaks quite the same way that you get in C++, but it kind of suggests to me that there's something in there somewhere that's still pointing to a piece of data and it's not getting like garbage collected or something. But just to review what we did. We opened up the workspace, we confirmed that we had the problem, then we deleted one by one everything in the workspace, and then we still had the problem, but then we restarted NinjaTrader and the problem was gone. So we cannot find it by removing things one by one. So what we need to do is we need to add them in one by one. I think what we need to do is add them in one by one. So I'm gonna add ZB. Let's start with ZB. Start with ZB candlestick. I'll load 3 days worth of data and do a 1 minute chart. And then I will switch it to just be box. Down bars orange, up bars cornflower blue. Outlines transparent. Okay. Now some of those just didn't do anything. Yes. That's fine. Okay, so, and then I'm going to add to it cumulative delta. Test. fine. It's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to add to it the spread. We'll do it as, we'll do these as candles. We'll do these as candles. ZN, ZV will do the knob spread. Probably need to change the ratio and everything. We can worry about that later. Okay. There you go. Okay, now we're going to test again. It's fine. It's fine. A fetch. Okay. So I'm going to duplicate this. New window. ZN. Duplicate in new window. ZB. Or no. ZF. ZF. Okay. So now I got 3 of them up. It's fine. I'm getting a little, I'm getting every once in a while, I'm getting a little hiccup. You see, like every 30th, the curve goes flat. Still good enough. I'll open up my reconstructed tapes. Let's open up all of the things that have my indicators on them to confirm that it wasn't one of my indicators. So market depth tape, ZN, market depth tape, and I'll do ES. And let's change this so min size should be like 1,000 on this one. Okay, cool. So we got those two going. Moment of truth. It's fine. Nice, lovely, rounded curves. So it's not those. And then I also had a chart of ES. On a 5-minute chart. And I did a 5-minute chart, and what did I have on it? I had the inventory cost basis on it is what I had. And cumulative delta. Okay. Okay. Testing. It's fine. Every once in a while I get a little hitch. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. See how it's like that flat line? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. There's like a little hiccup. Okay. Next one. Chart. Dala. Or no. We want 6E. That's what we want. Euro FX futures 5-minute chart. The yellow pen is called Epic Pen. And I'm going to add the synthetic dollar index. Could totally be this one because this adds so many data series to make it and everything. Okay, so there's the dollar index. Okay, so it's happening a little bit more often. But it's still pretty good. Oh, maybe it is the dollar index, my friends. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay. So let's try this then. Go to the clean one. Or the one that had like everything. I'm going to be disappointed if it's the dollar index one because that kind of suggests, well, there could be something in the drawing code, but it really kind of suggests that NinjaTrader just doesn't handle having like 6 data series on there very well. See, you're learning how to doodle from your kids. Just the easiest way to tell if there's a problem is drawing little circles. Okay, so you can see after I have everything opened up, it's like it doesn't work very well at all of a sudden, right? It like just straight cuts out for periods. It could be, I mean, it could be the CPU. I mean, I'm not running 100% CPU, but it could still be related to the CPU. But the theory here is that it's the synthetic dollar index because we've tested pretty much everything else. So I'm going to close these 2 windows and then I'm going to save the workspace, restart NinjaTrader. And I'll save deleted because I was kind of like rebuilding things. The instructions per clock might be an issue, not just the utilization for sure. Yeah, the stream hasn't had issues today, has it? So what did I change? I did kind of change a couple of things to try and make a NinjaTrader be use a little bit less resources, but I also made some changes in OBS to make that. So the big thing was that I was doing a separate recording of the screen and my camera and saving that to disk. So turning that off seems to have fixed the problem. So it must be that the whatever it was that I was using to do that recording, it something about it didn't like. Should we open? Well, let's start NinjaTrader up again here first. I'm so ADHD now. I'm like, oh, let's go into that and leave the NinjaTrader thing behind for a second. Still loading here. So I'm wondering with the OBS thing, then maybe it's something like you had like 3 things trying to use the encoder at the same time. And that caused a problem. So something like that. Okay, so NinjaTrader is loaded. Problems. Really bad problems. So the dollar index was not it. Now I'm just gonna start doing this, like go back, and close it all, restart it a trillion times. Nah, not gonna move over the 0 charts. So in the meantime here, I want to look here on OBS real quick. I had this thing, like, what was it I was using? Source record. Path, record format. Encoder. Oh. Why do I get so many choices there? Well, that's curious, because if I come over here to the output, oh, it's not going to let me change it. I think that I only had one choice for encoder over here. Yeah, well, no, I only had 2 choices for encoder over here last time I looked. So I'll have to look off stream. I have to look off stream. But I wonder if maybe if I change the encoding options, that maybe that fixes it. But that's good that at least we know a setup that we know works, so that we can always fall back on that. Well, I had just created a new one. I don't know what it was like before, so. Yeah, since we've pinpointed the issue. So now let's pinpoint the issue with NinjaTrader here. It's gotta be an indicator, man. It's gotta be an indicator. So I close down like a bunch of windows. Like the ones that are kind of like instruments that I don't watch as often, essentially. So that would cover the case where it must be something that I don't know how to put it. That it must be something to do with like having too many things open. That would cover that case. Okay. Looks like everything is loaded fine. And now I come back to the pen. And it's terrible. Okay, now I'm gonna close. Which one should we do next? Let's just close all of the ES charts. So I close NinjaTrader. Perfect. So, dude, it's so weird. It's kind of starting to weird me out. It could just be the workspace. Like, what if I recreate the whole workspace? You know, will it be fine? Well, it did seem like once I started adding in the dollar that it started to get a little wonky. So I do still wonder if it could have to do with like having multiple things open. Like what if you have ES open 3 separate charts with ES? Is that a problem, for instance? Go back and yeah, well, I want to. If somebody was willing to front the development, give me $200,000, and we can go in, you know, with certain percentages on the profits, and I could write a whole platform from scratch. Yeah, would love to do that. Oh man, we've spent a lot of time doing this too, haven't we? Well, where did we get to? 3.535? I've got $5 in a big map. Oh man. I hate McDonald's, and my son refuses to eat chicken nuggets from anywhere other than McDonald's. Okay, so we know that if we close everything down, the restart, it doesn't come back. So now we closed the ES charts. Oh, still pretty bad, I'd say. But it could be the ES charts. The ES charts certainly aren't helping. No, we do to. I'm not going to spend 2 years developing an application and then just only use it myself. Come on. Okay, now we're going to close the treasuries. So now we're getting into, it's as weird that it's still having problems territory, right? Because what I had open was basically like what I had open on that workspace where I started building it from the ground up. But it could have something to do with like being open on multiple charts or something like that. Like what if one of the indicators was using some sort of a singleton that, you know, the indicator being on 2 charts were affecting each other in some way. Okay, let's restart it. To prove that it works well right now. So what do I got open here? I got the market analyzer, the depth tapes, and oil open. It's not bad, but I'm still getting like big pauses. That's not bad. It's not perfect. So I'm gonna bet close the market depth tapes here. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. But I'm just gonna do that. So now the only thing I have open is the market analyzer and oil. I just want to see if when I restart, if that makes a difference. It's gotta have something to do with having that cumulative delta on like 4 charts. Okay. Perfect. Almost perfect. About as good as we've gotten with NinjaTrader open. I wouldn't say necessarily better than the last one though. Okay, so now I'm gonna do and go back to this workspace, reload everything. Need to wait here a little bit. This is probably the last test, and then I probably got to get going. You know what? I kind of feel dumb now because, well, not dumb, but like bad because we had like a lot of good conversations today, and then I started getting like deep into this debugging thing, and everybody's just like watching it, and like, you know what? This wasn't the most interesting thing. That I probably should have done this off stream. Oh, well. The way that this is all played out today has me a little bit on edge, to be honest with you. I mean, again, that move, that jump that we had off of that news is kind of like, what the hell? Oh yeah, there was some news at 8 o'clock, wasn't there? Consumer confidence was 107.1 versus 109, and then we came all the way back. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, you're a computer guy. Of course you found it interesting. The thing that's interesting about it is that this kind of a problem you shouldn't really have in C#, right? And yet we're having the problem. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to, for this one, so one of the things is that we know that Santa Fe is a very, very processor intensive. So I'm just going to remove Santa Fe. Okay. Remove Santa Fe. Okay. And I'm going to close all of the ones with the cumulative delta thing going on. So that should be all those. Yep, okay. And now we start. Why is it? I didn't click on team viewer. What the hell? My data providers got to be like, what the hell is this guy doing? Mostly I'm relieved that OBS didn't crash today. That's the most important thing. You know, I can always go and buy one of those extra encoding cards to record, you know, separately, or record it to a different machine or something like that. That's no problem. Okay, so everything's loaded, except for those charts that had cumulative delta running on them. And it sucks. What the fuck? Don't know what's causing it. Don't know what's causing it. I think that we've gotten to the point where it can't be just like any one individual thing, because we've pretty much closed everything down one by one and haven't found it. It just seems like that it's like as you close things down, it gets better. Right? So I'll keep working on it today. I will see you guys tomorrow, though, twice for Federal Reserve meeting, right? We always stream the Fed meeting, so that's going to be super exciting. I will see you then. In the meantime,